Welcome to I Don't Get It, the Pop Culture Get Off My Lawn cast. This show features the open-minded musings of two early 50s curmudgeons staring down the prospect of entertainment irrelevance. I'm your co-host, Bill Scurry of American Caesar Enterprises, which is America's game show spectacular.
Nicely done.
Thank you. You know what? I'm an honest man, but I do not steal thunder. That's the one thing I allow myself.
My name is Noah Tarnow. I'm the founder and the senior quizmaster of the Big Quiz Thing, the trivia game show spectacular. Not the same slogan, my friend.
That's true. Well, that's the slight difference.
Slight difference.
Both of us are in contention for ruling of America, though, I believe. I'm just getting ahead of it.
We're in contention. Sure. Yeah. Anyway,
I've got Delaware cornered end to end, from Dover to wherever else there is in Delaware. You know,
Delaware, Uncle Sam's pocket handkerchief.
The Diamond State, Delaware.
This is some really boring conversation.
Oh, I love it.
What the hell are we doing?
I'm really into it. I'm on the edge of my seat for this. You know,
you could hear thousands of people clicking off on their podcast right now. They were really excited because they wanted to learn everything about Tilly Norwood, and now they're like, "Fuck these guys."
They're gonna miss when we pivot to Rhode Island next. We cover all the small states.
All the small states, yeah. My company just did our first ever event in Rhode Island last week. How about that?
No, how about that, huh?
Yeah, really exciting. Anyway, enough.
Tennis Hall of Fame. Yeah, Sal Virginia University. Wonderful.
My favorite Rhode Island story, and this is slightly more interesting, is I was once playing I was in high school. I'm playing Trivial Pursuit, and it's an old Trivial Pursuit set. It might have even been the original set. And the question was, what U.S. state has the longest name? And I'm like, all right, I'm getting this right. There's nothing going to stop me. And I counted through the letters of every state name. And I feel like I came up with a tie and I was confused. Anyway, the card said, do you know what the card said, Bill?
What did it say?
It said Rhode Island and Providence Plantations, which apparently is or was or could arguably be Rhode Island's full technical name.
On the state charter in Providence. Okay.
Right. I had never heard that before.
Yeah.
And if the question said something like going by its technical blah, blah, blah original name, and it didn't, I was so fucking mad. I tore the card up. I shredded it into tiny bits. I have a few issues with Trivial Pursuit, and that is the number one issue.
What I love is that by you doing that, the transitor property it rent every other card in the set up and down the entire production line. So no one ever got that question again. That's how powerful your conviction on this subject was.
Well, that's not the transitive property, but
you get the point.
I appreciate your faith in my power to affect the trivia world, trickling down to Trivial Pursuit sets. Well, anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say, Noah, speaking of in your head and my head, things that aren't real, fantasies that we've made up.
Yes.
You know, things that truly don't matter. And
what are we talking about this week?
Yeah, a vision of something that accords to nothing whatsoever. Yeah.
So as you know, we're trying to keep our finger on the pulse, our thumb on the scale of
our powder dry. Yes.
Yeah. Popular culture and what's going on, what people are talking about. And this is something that's popped up in entertainment news pretty heavily. Did you listen to that podcast I sent you?
I listened to the Town, Matt Bellany show, and he did a couple of days ago, he did an episode, which is very much like what you were sending me.
So this is dozen articles in Variety alone about, the hot new actress, quote unquote, that all the big agencies are circling, or some agencies are circling. Some agencies have flat out said they are not interested in this property. The actress's name is Tilly Norwood. Bill, why are people talking about Tilly Norwood? And what's the deal? What's the deal with Tilly Norwood?
Well, Tilly Norwood.
Or what is Tilly Norwood?
What is Tilly Norwood? Who is the what of Tilly Norwood? It's an AI-generated thing, Noah. To pop the balloon, it is an AI. It is a fictive thing. It is a vision. It is a ignis fatuus, a figment. Yeah. It is fool's gold. It is all these things. It doesn't exist. No, fool's gold exists, but you get the point. It's a mirage in the desert. It's marketed, though, as an actress, is the point. So Tilly Norwood was created in 2025 by Sequoia, which the name was Xicoia, and only by watching videos did I realize it was called Sequoia. But, you know, Those goddamn Europeans know it. They'll just call things all sorts of weird.
How it was
names.
Pronounced. You knew it was called that. You didn't know it was pronounced.
Yeah. So Sequoia is an AI division of a European company called Particle 6, which I think is housed in London, England.
But the woman who came up with this, she's one of your people.
She's
Scottish,
one
right?
She's one of my people. Yeah, but she's relocated. She's been in London for decades. That's her thing. Yeah. So this fictional object, this fictional thing, is depicted as an aspiring London-based actor who enjoys shopping and iced coffee, which really sets her apart, sets that object apart from other people. To be fair, I've actually known a lot of people, but that's maybe the most interesting thing you can say about them is that they enjoy
is that they like iced coffee.
Shopping and iced coffee, yeah.
Shopping and iced coffee.
Tilly is already ahead. She lives in London. She's already more interesting than most of my friends.
Yeah.
So Tilly Norwood's debut work was called AI Commissioner. It was criticized by reviewers in Guardian, PC Gamer, AV Club, in addition to it was a whole host of media outlets.
A short film.
Yeah, it was a 2-minute sketch, pretty much.
Tilly doesn't do much in that. That's the thing. Tilly does. It's basically just a video where they just talk about Tilly and then they show it.
Yes. Yeah, there's not much to go on. You're absolutely right about that. So there was a premature announcement at the 2025 Zurich Film Festival, and that she was about to be signed by a talent agency. Now, you mentioned that at the beginning. Here's the reality of it. That is strictly hype. That was a surmisal. That was a jump to conclusion.
Someone's gonna sign it.
There's something we'll get into what that means, and but for the point, yes, there's no basis in reality right now that she's going to go to William Morris Endeavor or something like that.
Well, Gersh flat out said, "Fuck this."
Yeah, Gersh. It's like, so if Gersh says no, right? It's not appropriate for Gersh. There's nothing for Gersh to sign, and I mean, like I said, we'll get to whatever that means. But it's like Gersh can't handle this, because it's not a human. There's just not bylaws for this kind of thing. It doesn't work. But the whole concept has attracted revulsion almost up and down from Hollywood actors, firms, guilds, agencies, whatever, you name it. It prompts allegations of misconduct and personality rights violations, caused arguments about how much she might cost everybody in the end. So Particle 6 is an English company, like you said. It was a Dutch actress turned producer. I think she's a comedic actress, no less. I'm not familiar with her work.
What's her name? Alina van
de Velden is her name.
Thank you.
Yeah,
she's been van de something. Okay.
So it looks like she's kind of gotten more into back end where, it's smart. If you can't make money up front as an actress, it's like, why not get into something? This is the thing. A lot of people are pivoting to getting into tech companies. Even Natasha Lyonne just started an AI company with her boyfriend. The idea is that they're trying to make it easier to make films. I don't know if they're trying to make it easy to make actors and actresses, but she wants to sort of facilitate storyboarding, writing, budget making. Like, they're trying to use AI for that purpose, which is, okay, maybe the kind of like white knight version of AI is, it looks like that, as opposed to this, which looks like it's coming from the sulphurous bowels of hell. Just like a wholly fictive person. So yeah, his Instagram account under Norwood's name has 50,000 followers by October 3rd. It's got filled with AI generated modeling shots, selfies, and it was almost like loops of film scenes. It's like they're ripped off from other. It looks like it could be quasi Jim Cameronian, quasi Peter Jacksonian like clips of films, as if she's in The Matrix meets Lord of the Rings. Just bullshit that they prompt. And this character almost like spins and turns to the camera dressed in like a Matrix Morpheus suit or Neo suit or something like that. So the thing is that Van der Velden got in some hot water because she said that this is always the problem, man. It's like you step in this shit where she said, "Oh, she could be the next Scarlett Johansson or Natalie Portman."
That's what they've been saying. That's what Particle Man has been saying.
Yeah. Yes. And it's like
the next Natalie Johansson or Scarlett Morton.
Scarlett Morton. Yes, Dr. Rosenpenis. So yeah, the thing is, it's like, audiences are more interested in a film story than whether actors are real or not. So yeah, the whole idea of this proof of concept comedy sketch, I think I'd call it, AI Commissioner. It is a wholly AI generated sketch. It's all prompts, and it was created by using 10 AI software tools. It was written by ChatGPT. Everything about it is just so fucking.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So yeah, whatever. You go look at AI Commissioner. I think it pretty much, it doesn't have 6 fingers on the hands, but it's pretty much up to par for what you expect. Look, it'd be impressive to talk about this stuff.
It is impressive.
Yeah, man, it's fucking there's something to it for sure.
It looks real enough,
Or it looks. It's acceptable to be fake bullshit because of the way everybody's waxy and the way, the one particular. Once I saw this, I couldn't unsee it. Is that people's teeth routinely went from having individual chiclets to being just a white, sort of white crescent.
Oh, really? I didn't notice that.
That was always the issue. It's also anytime there was text, it just almost all looks Cyrillic. It still can't handle text, but we know that a couple of generations from now, the software is going to be able to handle text just fine and typefaces. But for the moment, everything looks like gibberish. It's not just Cyrillic. Anyway, so the sketch has been more than 700,000 times on YouTube. Norwood was depicted as being on Graham Norton's sofa. I'm not sure. I think that was a cobbled together that was supposed to be one of these things that was cover, as if we're using the Graham Norton show, which is a talk show shingle in the UK, to add some legitimacy to this. And it's I'm not sure that does it. I'm not sure Graham Norton was aware that they were using the fact that they were creating his sort of idea, as if she was a guest on the show, which I don't believe she was. But it was making it look how natural this looks. Look how natural this actress.
Well, she wasn't a guest on the show. It hasn't been in anything other than this video, and it can't be a guest on the show. It's not a person.
Right, but you could, if Graham Norton were so inclined, he could essentially have a one-sided conversation that in post they create a panel.
Yeah, they make a video of it, not actually on the show. Yes, they could.
So when I was to say, Van der Velden, who's a former comedic actor herself, has been trying to mitigate the horror by she has gone by saying, "Look, I'm an actor. I'm on the side of the actors. This isn't meant to change." The job of the actor.
It's just a paintbrush.
It's a paintbrush, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look, you'll see any number of quotes from people, who said that unequivocally, this should be verboten. That media companies are quietly embracing AI, and they all see this doom coming anyway. They know that public announcements of AI generated works are imminent anyway. It's the closing in. And yes, of course, to reemphasize, the agencies aren't going anywhere near this, but what that suggests is that there will be guilds, or sort of there are going to be agencies that essentially just handle this aspect of the business, because it's not going to be Gersh, it's not going to be it's not going to be William Morris Endeavor, it's not going to be CAA.
I mean, maybe someday, even if they say never now,
no, it's true, they just can't fathom
what principles to giant Hollywood agencies have. I mean, come on.
No, you're right. They will find a way to get out of their morality if they don't want to have if morality is
find a way. It's lying there on the floor of their office.
Anyway, so Noah, what do you think of this this horrible idea?
Let's start with the basics. I have no use for this specific character. You pointed out that the Tilly Norwood character, the pretty young girl trying to make it as an actress, drinking her iced coffee, going shopping, crying about bullshit. It's very cliche, and even beyond the cliche. I like plenty of cliches. I just no use for this character. Nothing. If Tilly Norwood does become the next Scarlett Johansson, God help us, I will not be a fan. I'm going to be, and for a second, I'll be very charitable here. I want to like the concept. I look, even if it's a cliche, this is art. This is definitely art. Alina van der Hoeven, whatever's thing, that this is just a new way. This is a creation. This is like a paintbrush, blah, blah, blah. There is something to that.
I'll agree with you. It's definitely art.
Yes. Yeah. It's absolutely, plenty of art's boring and cliche. You don't have to be good to be art. It's an audacious concept, right? I do believe in the idea of using technology to create new forms of art, to break what one thinks art could be. In theory, the idea of creating an entire film from AI, creating a cast from AI. In theory, I am pro that, because I am in favor of pushing the limits of art formally. I've always been a fan of abstract art, visual art, like abstract painting and abstract poetry and things like that. I've always really liked that. I mean, I used to be a performance artist. That's how you met me, right? You met my performance artist character before you met me. Isn't that right?
That's true. Yeah, I didn't know you weren't you. I thought you were somebody else.
Funny. How funny is that? That's going.
I'm still not sure who you are, but that's different.
No, I'm still not sure who I am. But ultimately, this is terrible for all the obvious reasons. I mean, there are huge practical reasons why this is bad news. The fact that actors will be put out of business. The fact that other people's effort is being exploited. And you didn't mention that. I mean, one of the things about AI is they build it from So Tilly Norwood, I don't know how it works, but is a composite of various other actors and performances that are, part of the reason this stuff works is because we have the internet and you control and find things existing, video, film, right? So other people's effort is being exploited.
Yeah, she's the product of ingestion. She's like a 1,000 actresses.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah,
they.
But more so the fact that this is a very clear sign among many that we are philosophically further deadening our souls and flat out dissolving the bonds of human society. I took note of this recently. I was in, the business district of San Francisco where I live, and there was a giant ad for a company called Qualify. And every ad now cares about AI. AI, how are you going to adopt AI? We're AI that makes it easy. I mean, it was almost overnight how crazy it is. Pre-pandemic, you didn't see AI on one ad anywhere, and now it's probably 90%. So this company Qualified. I had to look. I didn't remember the name. I had to look it up. I have no idea what they do. And it was this giant. I posted this on Instagram. A giant billboard, and it says, "Say hi to Piper, the AI assistant." And it's a big picture of a pretty brunette woman. Piper, your AI assistant, right? And my thought about this was, all right, AI is here. AI is going to keep coming. Fine. Okay. There's no use fighting it. Do we have to personify it like this? Do we have to say the AI assistant is Piper, the pretty girl? Right?
Bingo.
Why?
Yep.
Why does it have to be a person? Why don't you just say the fucking computer's going to do it? We didn't personify Excel, right? We didn't personify, Windows 95.
What about Clippy, though, from Microsoft?
Yeah, Clippy, right. Well, I mean, there's a big difference between a blinking paperclip and a pretty girl for creepy reasons we're going to get into in a minute. But even putting aside the creepy things, you are putting a seal of approval on the idea that these things are going to replace people in the workplace, keeping it PG rated for the minute in the workplace. The company that created Tilly is leaning into this bad habit. They claim the actress, this is what they say, the actress does not identify as a they or an it, which has been more commonly used in press coverage. Her pronouns are she, her, says Particle 6, adding that everybody wants an interview with Tilly. All right, fuck this. It's not a person. It's not a fucking person. I mean, it's a person the way, Travis Bickle is a person, the way Homer Simpson is a person. Fictional characters that we personify because they're richly drawn, the way we say, like, I bet when Homer and Marge met, blah, 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 blah. No, nothing happened when they met because they never met because they're fictional characters, but we play these little games. But here we have the game just encroaching on reality in a very uncomfortable way. And it is more so or worse now because if we blur the lines between humans and algorithms, we lose further touch with a concept that is sorely missing from our society these days. It's not missing, it's there in spades, but is being devalued, which is empathy. It becomes that much easier to hate each other, to devalue each other, to see each other as the haters say as NPCs, right? How are we going to solve practical problems? How are we going to take care of ourselves in our time of need? And make no mistake, we are in our time of need. If we blur the line between human and non-human. So I refuse to call this an actress, and I hate the personification. I also want to give a quote here, partly because I think it dovetails with my point, but also I thought of you when I read this. there was an opinion piece in Variety by Janelle Riley, and she's an actress, and she's talking about how this is utter horseshit and she hates it and blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to quote here. I know not everyone's journey is the same, but until an AI character endures living paycheck to paycheck, countless cattle calls, screaming directors, and the constant battle with imposter syndrome, I'm not willing to call it an actor. Even giving a piece of art a name and a gender and what I assume will be personality attributes, parenthetical, I dread the inevitable first, quote, exclusive interview with Norwood where she, quote, breaks her silence about this is problematic to
Nicely done.
I know. So Bill's got a thing about break their silence, be a cliche. Now, I don't agree with this 100%. Even giving a piece of art a name and a gender, we do that all the time. Homer Simpson's a he, Marge Simpson's a she.
A ship is a she, you know what I mean?
Wow, that's okay. But we give art a name and a gender all the time. But when it is art whose entire purpose is to replace human beings, giving it a name and a gender is very, very dangerous. So I'd say a thumbs down on this, Bill.
Make no mistake, the point of this art is in fact to replace the effort of people.
Yes, it's the only point of it.
Yeah, that's the thing is, like, again, we could talk about the art, like formal art busting. And I remember one of our old conversations a bunch of years back was about chill wave music and how some of the chill wave artists had gotten into hot water because they were essentially just taking finished albums and using the finished product of another artist as the basis for another album that they were working on. They would make a new piece of music out of a Diana Ross album. And I heard some really beautiful art done that way. But at the same time, it's like, well, was Diana Ross paid for the fact that they used an LP of hers to create a new album? You know what I mean?
Part of the reason I still hate Roy Lichtenstein.
Yeah.
Is he ripped off a bunch of comic artists and was called a genius.
He ripped off John Romita and Gil Kane and guys like that back in the day. Yeah, no, it's true. So this is a righteous dig-in point for actors, media, and fans who are all being told that I don't see the billboards you see, but the idea that there's this constant fucking drumbeat, like it's a Viking longship, and they're just impelling the oarsmen to, go faster and faster to get to shore, to go to war. You're being told that AI is about to change your lives. And the reality is what that fucking means is that instantly hundreds of thousands of people, granted they're white collar workers from all sorts of all sectors, all sorts of sectors, they're going to be put out of business. Unemployment is going to jump up almost immediately. I think in the next year and a half, it's going to happen all at once. This isn't like when the buggy whip industry went out and it's like fewer and fewer people were traveling by coach and hansom cab and buggy, and as their towns, their cities, accrued electricity and steam trains and things like that. And it's like all of a sudden traveling around in a horse carriage. That was years and decades, of slow attrition. But this is going to happen overnight where people are just going to be tossed out on their ass. If you don't need lawyers, you don't need paralegals, if you don't need script, what is it? The people who, look at slush piles for scripts, interns, things like that. A lot of the stuff that I did in the early part of my career has essentially been obviated by this, or will be very shortly. And again, that's all white collar shit that people went to college for to learn. It's not smashing rocks. It's not doing, mammograms. It's not making a burger. It's not something concrete and useful. It's the useless shit I've been doing my entire life that, just essentially makes me happy because I'm an idiot. But it's tough to watch that this is the precipice that it comes on, this sort of the waspy wasted shoulders, or the waspy wasted body, and the narrow shoulders of this little precociously designed cute girl. Like you said, the idea that it has this face on her, and the idea that she's a woman. It's either somebody you're supposed to want to take care of or have sex with or just feel a certain way about. It's an easy get. Like, who else would you... It's a button cute little girl, which at one point both Scarlett Johansson and Natalie Portman were in their career button cute girls and did a lot of roles along the way as button cute girls. And that is a wide lane in the industry as an actor, and that that's not an accident. That's why they built it. But the question is, what are Craven Studios going to do about this? They're facing a fusillade from all the talent unions at once to not pull the trigger on it. But it's like, the studios have kind of proven at this point, they're not studios. The studios themselves are tech companies. They used to be, run by cigar chomping, talent raping moguls who would, force people on the couch.
The good old days.
Yeah, right. That's when it worked at the best, was when they were all coked up and compelling people to have sex against their will to get roles in movies throughout the 60s, 70s, and 80s, that sort of thing. But here's the thing. We know the answer to how this is going to work. Right now, David fucking Ellison, the son of Larry Ellison, the Oracle guy, has more money than they're completely favored by the government at this point and the right wing, the right wing anarchy. He is going. He just bought Paramount. He's going to buy Warner Brothers. More than likely, it's going to go through. They're going to own CNN. They're going to own Warner Brothers. They're going to own more. Like a gigantic percentage of the business is going to be one huge company. David Ellison is not Irving Thalberg. David Ellison is a technocrat. His father was a technocrat. They're going to treat these companies
not an artist. Not an artist.
Not even. No, he's more akin to a hedge fund manager. So the thing is, look, all they're going to want to do is strip the cost of labor. And I don't just mean like, oh, you know what, our Warner Brothers accountant department is redundant now that Paramount and Warner's are working under the same umbrella. That's definitely going to happen.
Fuck you, get a job.
Yeah. Fuck you, get a job. But the idea they're going to strip the cost, like labor is essentially any human who works for this company. It's like, well, why do we need people? I mean, Jim Cameron's doing blue people running around on Navi Planet. It's like, so like, why not? Why don't we just do that, but just not have the actors in the first place being shot? We can do this forever, that sort of thing. So, and the back end of this for me is that the depressing part is that I think that audiences have kind of already voted, right? Like audiences, to a certain degree, AI actors are going to play Batman and Ghostbusters forever. They're not going to age. I get that that's the idea. It's like, well, we never have to recast Batman again.
She'll do anything I say. I'm already in love. Girl next door vibes.
Like if a Sunday roast went to drama school and got BAFTA optimized.
But can she cry on Graham Norton?
Of course she can, and it'll be clipped, subtitled, and monetized on TikTok by lunchtime.
We're all going to hell. Got recommissioned, didn't it?
3 seasons and a podcast.
By an AI commissioner, much faster.
But hey, at least it wasn't a reboot.
Why are people excited about this to the extent they are? There's lots of articles about it. Why are people upset about this? I mean, we've covered a lot of this already. What are the reasons why Tilly Norwood has attracted whatever Tilly Norwood is, not a person, has attracted our attention.
It's a spokes object, a spokes thing. Yeah,
spokes algorithm.
I want you to go wide, but what I'm going to do is I'm focusing on this sort of the idea that you can sympathize with the actors, the professionals in particular, who looked at Tilly Norwood and just saw the shark circling in the water. It's like it was a thing that there's a lot of articles about this, and a lot of people were saying, oh, it's, not benign, neutral, but it's like this kind of like, it's a crazy world we're living in. Isn't it amazing what AI can get away with? We went from 6-fingered photo pictures, being generated by prompts a year ago, or people saying it's like, what if Wes Anderson directed Star Wars and you can prompt that off of Mid-Journey or something like that?
Wait, did someone do that really?
Yeah, there's a million things like that.
There's like, a fake video, like what if Wes Anderson directed?
And they're waxy.
Because that sounds funny. I kind of want to watch that.
No, yeah, they're waxy AI creations, and it's like, you want to, as an art thing, yes. As a serious thing, well, let's not make our art that way. That kind of thing. So it's like, I read so much in the preparation for this that was coming from like disparate people, but essentially all of a one tone. All these actors were looking at about how, this is going to, they're going to attempt to put all these people at the pasture overnight, like I said. So you get Emily Blunt, you get Whoopi Goldberg. I can't think of two more dissimilar people. They're condemning this work. Okay, you can.
Emily Blunt. See, every article said, "Oh, Emily Blunt, one of the people condemning it." It was they asked her on like a red carpet. She said, "That's scary," and she walked away. Not Emily Blunt. She didn't really address it.
Well, look, I want somebody like Whoopi Goldberg who has the strength of her convictions, and she's getting up on The View telling people that her particular contention was that you will always be able to tell our work from whatever the slop that they make is. And it's like, well...
will people care, though?
Well, actually, but can they? I mean, there's a difference between... If you took Tilly Norwood and showed it to your parents right now, what do you think what do you think they would think? You know what I mean?
I think they would say there's something weird about this.
Maybe.
I can't put my finger on it.
If they couldn't, it's not. If they couldn't,
But my parents are smarter than most baby boomers.
Yeah, but it's like, again,
if I may say so.
Even in spite of them being as smart as they are, even if they couldn't, it's like the point is it's designed to show how good the technology is, and it's not a fault if you can't find your way through this. I like to think at the moment that I could see the difference, but it's like I think this is popular because it's kind of outrageous, or at least the way I'm seeing it. The thing that I was looking for in my research is it's like a clearinghouse for a lot of outrageousness. Like, people have a lot of feelings now, and especially AI is something that like neither you nor me really use per se, and I'm not going to need it for my job at any point. Generally, it's like and it's not something I don't think is going to assist my life in a way I can foresee at the moment. And it's like, but I can see it fucking shit up. I can see it making people unhappy. I can see it ruining things I like. That's not the whole story, but that's my angle on the story. So I think that this is popular because it gives people a toehold in being able to, like, you know, explain kind of concisely what this particular thing means to them in a form of horror at the moment.
Yeah, it's a good way to explain the coming apocalypse, but please, to wrap it up in a little bow.
You tell me wider. I think there is definitely a lot more.
I mean, but that's a good way to. My why is a little more expansive. As I said, there's a lot of whys here. Why are people creating Tilly Norwood? Because of money. Because, you know, I saw people saying, what's the purpose of this? It doesn't solve a problem. Sure, it solves a problem. It solves a problem of shitheads like David Ellison, right? How do I cut labor costs? That's always their problem. How do I make more money? How do I pad my billions? So that's one why. Why are people upset? For all the good reasons we've talked about. And you said this wraps it up in a nice, neat bow, a good, easy way to explain it. Why is the media talking about it? You know, why are people excited about it? I'm not sure they are excited about it. It might just be hype, right? I also think there's a lot of naivete here. And, you know, when Alina Vanderklugen, what's her name? Sorry, I keep getting
Alina Vandervelden.
Alina Vandervelden was like, it's not intended to replace anything. It's just a paintbrush, blah, blah, blah. She represents experimentation, not substitution. All right, I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt that that's her goal. That in creating this, she does not want this to replace actors. She just wanted to make, like I said, you know, she just wanted to make art, use the tools to do something audacious. But it is awfully naive. Do you know the story of the guy who invented the Keurig?
No, what's that?
All right. I mean, I didn't look it up, but this is how I remember. The guy who invented the Keurig, you know, the device that you put the little pod.
The K-cup coffee thing, yeah.
Right. He invented this. He's like, here's an easy way to get coffee in like the dentist's waiting room, right? And to this day, that's still, I remember, long story, I was in the Javits Center once for a medical supply conference. I was briefly working with someone who was there for another reason. So I was walking around and looking around, and there was a booth, if not Keurig, if not that brand, but something like that. And I'm like, that's clever. If you're here buying stuff for your medical office, you want the coffee maker. Anyway, the Keurig guy said he is stunned and a little upset that Keurigs are now used in millions and millions of private homes because of the waste. Although I use a Keurig and I use refillable pods, which is super easy and I highly recommend. You know, the waste of the K-cups, right? The disposable K-cups. This was not his intention, but, you know, his intention slipped away from him. Just because an artist doesn't want something to be bad doesn't mean, I'm calling K-cups art, but you know what I mean. Just because a creator intends for something to only serve a noble purpose or a not so awful
someone can see a different vision of your thing. Absolutely.
Someone can see a different vision. If people can make money off it, they're going to make money off it regardless of your intent, unless you hold a really tight leash on it. And most people don't do that. Most people can't do that. Why is the media talking about it? Well, it's we talked about this last week with 6-7. It's media insecurity. Oh, we got to talk about this. Otherwise, someone else will talk about this and they'll get the clicks and not us.
Someone else might talk about
Right.
this.
Well, that's it. It's the media insecurity. Like, I need the clicks, so I can't let everyone else beat me to the story. When I worked at Time Out New York, we published a blog post we got an early story about, this story is going to fall apart because I can't remember the detail. It was something like someone collapsed, some actor like collapsed on stage. It was kind of horrible. And we somehow got the story early, and that blog post got a ton of clicks. And I remember from up above, like, how do we get more blog posts like that?
Wait till horrible things to happen to somebody. That's how.
Wait for horrible things to happen and hope we're the first person to hear about it. I mean, and at this level, it's just too much of the chasing the thing and jumping on the thing because we have to jump on it. If we don't jump on it, someone else is going to jump on it first, and that'll be a problem for us. And then we had to get to it, Bill. Why do people care about this? So Tyler Cowen, you know who he is? He's a writer.
Name sounds familiar.
He's a right-wing writer. He writes for the Free Press, which is Barry Weiss's little online journal. You know, these socially liberal, economically conservative, you know, I don't love Trump, but I vote for him and he's right about most things and blah, blah, blah. And anyway, Tyler Cowen isn't even a young guy. He's like 10 years older than us. He wrote an article, which I didn't read the whole thing because I'm not going to pay the Free Press. It's not a free article, but I read excerpts. And he loves the idea of Tilly Norwood. And he loves the idea of an actress who doesn't talk back. And I think the headline was like, my new favorite actress. And the quote, which is in the subhead, I mean, this is a priority for him, is, if you wish to see a virgin on screen.
Oh, that guy. Yes, I did see this quote. That's horrifying.
Why do you care if who you see on screen is a virgin or not? Like, why does that have any relevance to their performance whatsoever? Tilly Norwood is cute. Tilly Norwood is cute in the way millions of people want their women to be cute, right? She's cute, but not in an original way. She's very milquetoasty cute. The cute that every guy can agree on kind of thing. There is so much creepiness to this, and so much of guys and lecherous people are going to want the fake actress because she's going to do whatever I want.
I think at some point, you know, you're still going to want to have real people.
Have to know when to stop. I think just because we are able to do these things technologically, should you?
The arts should be left to human beings.
Nothing will ever replace a human being.
Noah, would you have liked Tilly Norwood as a kid?
Well, if I were a young man, I might be more drawn to her specific affect, you know, the Tilly Norwood style, the Tilly Norwood look that I find, I mean, fine, yes, I keep saying she. It's a pretty picture, but it's not my taste. If I were a young man, it might be my taste. And if I were young, I might be enough of so I'm saying I wouldn't hate this as much because I might be enough of a contrarian to say, oh, you know, get with it, grandpa. Like, times are changing, you know, too bad. This is inevitable. Find a way to work with it. Right. I've always kind of been that way. The years we lived in New York, and this is very different. I always, and I still do to an extent, I always got annoyed when people were like, I like Times Square better when people were getting stabbed. And, oh my God, this restaurant is so sad that it's gone. It's gone. I just thought there was a lot of posturing to that. You know, people are sad about bars and restaurants that they hadn't gone to in 20 years. And my whole attitude is, look, it's fine if a classic old place, a legendary place dies, because nothing lasts forever, as long as there are new places that can be new legends. The problem, of course, is usually the restaurant was gone. It was replaced with a Bank of America. Or yet another Starbucks. So when I was young, I was enough of a contrarian that I might not be quite as upset about it. But that's all I can think of.
I mean, as a kid, you know, I think I've been a fan of the idea of unions, sort of the idea of like the collect. Yeah, but I mean, just like understanding what a guild was and understanding like what these things meant to people who worked. You know, my younger self would have found common cause with SAG-AFTRA, even though the people who are in SAG-AFTRA don't do anything like what I grew up seeing people work who were in unions. And I was briefly in the Teamsters myself when I worked at the convenience store on Long Island back in the early 90s.
You were a Teamster?
The particular clerks, so for some reason, they argued that the clerk that we were like fit, the Teamsters let us in, or at least they made common cause.
Aren't the Teamsters all truck drivers?
In most cases, yeah. But it's like they were varying up the kind of people that they were asking, and they unionized the workforce of the convenience store, and so. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it really does a whole lot of good, but at least we were union labor. It was union labor, and I had that gig for about 3.5 years or so. It's the bigger picture though is that as a kid, the thing that captivated me, watching movies and sort of the dream factory getting piped into your eyeballs. The actors was the conduit. As much as it's like I love the Planet Arrakis and Megatron and G.I. Joe and Tron and Jack Nicholson as the Joker and all that stuff. It's like, I think I started memorizing actors' names early without even thinking about it. It was sort of like, kind of like an opsomathic skill, keeping track and cross-relating their careers early on. Reading the TV guide to see which actors were on which TV shows and who came out of this movie, and realizing that, it was a little bit like hot stove baseball. Like I was like a baseball nerd, except for like actors and directors. That was the way in. Like those are the people who built the Dream Factory. That was their work that was sort of furnishing it for me. So, humans always win with me. And it's a way for me to say that, like again, the work of SAG-AFTRA, the work of all these guilds that make the stuff is real and it's necessary, but also like I spent my entire life training my eye and my ear to kind of notice these things, to sort of notice the small hints of a performance by someone like, Angelica Houston or Brad Dourif. It's like that matters. I mean, will this stuff get so good that it could skunk someone like me, who kind of makes it their bailiwick to look at this stuff? Maybe it's going to happen very shortly too. And maybe I'll eat some crow on that I'm just not smart enough, or my eyeballs aren't good enough at this age to be able to pick it out. But as a kid, I think I would have stuck to like actual flesh actors rather than, as much as again, Tron was about the idea that there were fake people living inside of a computer, but it was humans who were making it, that kind of thing.
This is the talk of the town here in Los Angeles. Tilly Norwood was created by Aline Vandervelde, an actor who founded the world's first AI talent studio, Sequoia. Vandervelden says she's spoken with several agents vying to represent her AI character, who she pitched as the next Scarlett Johansson.
How is Tilly Norwood a sign of the apocalypse?
This is where I'm going to pull the lens out, because Tilly Norwood is an example of the worst aspect of all of this stuff. And I mean, we really haven't done an AI topic so far, as much as it's sort of brushed up on other.
We did deepfakes.
Yeah, deepfakes, and I was going to say blockchain is not. That's more like hocus pocus bunkum, but deepfakes is sort of as close as we've gotten so far. And I mean, yeah, DALL-E was another category that we did. Again, we really talked around, not around, but we've been. Here's the thing: is that AI is being rushed into readiness before anyone has a chance to legislate it or come up with comprehensive like hygiene rules just in dealing with it.
SAG-AFTRA tried during that strike.
I know. Well, they
got somewhere, but not enough.
Right, but that's just SAG-AFTRA. What about the rest of everything? What about
every other industry?
Yeah, what about everything? From fucking fast food to people who make Q-tips to nannies working on your babies. What the fuck? So, like, this is exactly the thing that happened with the internet. And it happened again with social media. I'm sure it happened before the internet with something else, but in my frame of reference, I'm only 50 years old, so this is what I saw while we were alive. Social media, and now this is millions of times worse than social media. This is AI. This is game-changing on a scale we can't even imagine. And none of those things, for the most part, they have the merest dusting of authority and sort of like rules applied to them from without. It doesn't. Yeah.
We have the opposite currently now. We have people rushing in the direction to not regulate them in any conceivable way.
Yeah, and it's they bought into the anarchic viewpoint. I keep like my notes. I have this word anarchic. It's like, look, this government that we have, it's wholly anarchic about it. It's certain doom. I mean, it's like because they're taking their cues from the companies who created this stuff, and they don't want any oversight whatsoever. And this is a sort of rule. What is it? Not a rule phobic, but a sort of like rule and authority skeptic. There's
rule dismissive.
Rule dismissive. There's no such thing as expertise from this. It's just practically it's authoritarian without any kind of expertise. You got it. Get the point. Yep. But so the fact that governments again are being anarchic about this, and look, it's not just the United States. I guarantee right now, there's nothing in the Dutch in The Hague that's coming through. I'm sure there's nothing in Paris. It's like everyone's falling asleep at the switch at the exact same moment. This is what happened with COVID. That's what happened with this. This is just a human thing. So, it's
actually COVID, that didn't happen. The joke is that people got mad that it did, that authority actually worked and helped.
Yeah, right, exactly. So it's like, imagine that this week alone, right? Trump himself posted an AI meme on Truth Social about med beds, right? On fucking med beds.
How are you not embarrassed by this? Putting aside the danger, how is this not fucking embarrassing?
Well, here's the thing. It was an AI thing that someone in the QAnon fever swamp cooked up. And I think that he posted it because he thought that he did. I don't think he did. It was him speaking. I think that he thought, oh, I remember when I did that. I think that this is the kind of administration we have, and this is the sort of oversight, is that he posted an AI thing, and I'm sure he had no idea that it wasn't real. Even though he was the one in it, he probably completely forgot he didn't say those things. And yes,
the guy can't tell the difference between reality and fantasy.
And reality.
So,
reality and reality.
I mean, something like that is probably not even dementia. I mean, the guy has never really been able to draw a distinction between what is real is what I say, is what I want.
So what about you? Where's the sign and all this? No, crack the wax seal.
This is the most Twilight Zone, Black Mirror topic we've looked at. I mean, seriously, going back to the 60s Twilight Zone, there's an episode, I can't remember what it was called, about this factory owner who's replacing, I remember the final image because it's one of the funnier episodes. He's replacing workers and the workers are upset and he's like, fuck you. I mean, obviously he doesn't say that in 60s TV. And he keeps swinging his key on a chain. And of course, the punchline at the end is he's replaced by a robot. So you see the robot walking around swinging the key on the chain. But there's another reason beyond everything we said why this is apocalyptic. I mean, it's tied in with all that. And it ties in with the empathy thing I brought up before. If you watch that movie, AI Commissioner, whatever it is, they admit that this is apocalyptic. There's a line where one of the other characters says, we're all going to hell.
Yeah, that's true.
And the final line, the kicker, the punchline is, at least it isn't a reboot. They're flat out saying that Tilly Norwood is some soul and industry and job destroying horseshit. And this is where we are with, it's not just rule dismissive, it's people who voted for Trump because of the lulls, people whose only goal is to own the libs, is to have a laugh. Everything's a fucking joke to these people, right? A vice president who posts memes of, Hakeem Jeffries wearing a cartoon hat and a cartoon sombrero and a Pancho Villa mustache. That this is how people conduct and comport themselves when dealing with serious business. And I'm sorry, we need adults in the room. And now everything is wholesale being turned into a fucking joke where nothing matters.
Let's get to know each other, and thanks for watching.
All right, Noah, let's finish our show with our last two segments, jealousy and the Felonian scale. Let's speak of jealousy and how the hell it applies to this. I don't really know, but I'll pitch the question to you. What are you envious of?
I am not jealous. I mean, look, one of the things that haunts me throughout my life is the assertion that I should have tried harder to be an actor, because as a kid, all I wanted to do was be an actor. And I tried a little, but sometimes I think not enough.
You were just too tangible and real. That's the problem.
Well, last night I went to the theater. I saw the traveling Broadway and San Francisco production of Les Miserables. It was very good. But as I said to the people I saw it with, if you have Les Miserables and you hire a good cast, you kind of can't go wrong. It's such a good show. So it's terrific. And of course I have that moment where I see it like, damn, like how fun it would have been to be in a show like this. But this is a moment where I'm glad I'm not an actor because, I'm having to deal with this horse shit. Like, please. So no, there's no way. I'm also not jealous that I don't work in the AI space because it feels kind of soul deadening.
You can probably lose your job in AI from AI. I think
I'm sure that's happening all the time and will keep happening more. Yes.
Yeah. So that's my question is like, who am I jealous of? Tilly Norwood, of Eileen van der Velden? I have no idea. Look,
Tilly Norwood's not a person. You can't be jealous of it.
Eileen van der Velden's not a person either. She was an AI creation put in front of all of us. We're
going to learn that at the end. Well, the people who there's a delusion of the people who think no one's real except themselves.
Yeah, I'm not into that kind. I can't deal with that sort of level.
You're not into that? You know?
Yeah, I'm not into
Okay.
that. So no,
you're not on that Reddit.
Here's the problem, though. No, what's left out of this is that Tilly Norwood, though, is likely could steal an acting gig, which, let's be fair here, should have rightly gone to a Nepo baby, okay? So, you know, you got to think of like Jack.
I mean, Nepo, but this is what I said during the Nepo baby episode. A lot of them work hard, you know? I mean, yeah, they got a foot in the door, but it was just a foot.
I'm just saying, it's like, you know, think of Jack Quaid. He's out there starving right now. Think of Maya Hawke with
He was really good in The Boys.
Maya Hawke has a sandwich board. She's wiping your window at traffic lights somewhere in Los Angeles. You know, like, just think of how tough this is right now. It's like, what I want to be in Eileen Vandervelden's shoes. That's the other. It's like you know, right now, I bet you Jack Valentino has ordered a team of SEAL team assassins to get her, to knock her out of the picture almost immediately. And
they're just going to pay her off.
Jack Valenti's been dead for 15 years, for God's sake.
They're just going to pay her. They're just going to drive a dump truck of money to her little. What do you call those little houses in Amsterdam?
Yeah, canal house or something like that.
What is your house called? What kind of house is it?
It's called a canal house. Yes.
Bill literally lives on a canal in a little vertical thing that everyone can look in the window as they walk by. He wears his Dutch shoes as he walks out. It's very.
I make cheese.
Dutch.
So what about the scale, Noah? Where do you rate this junk? Where do you put it?
Sticks his finger in the dike. So take deepfakes. Our big AI topic. And I thought, all right, what's a cutesy little girl we've looked at? So not long ago, we looked at Sabrina Carpenter, and though I thought there was some value to her music, a lot of it was being sold on her cutesiness.
Yeah, I'm not sure she's real anymore. I really have questions about this, you know?
Also, she was pushing Tilly Norwood is, for now, presented as pretty chaste, but you know that's under the surface. So deepfakes times half of Sabrina Carpenter, and then thinking about this whole, we're just doing it for the lulz, fuck everything, fuck everyone, I add a pinch of Johnny Somali. Remember
Johnny Somali, boy, that name, man, I knew him when I was a teenager. That's a voice from the past, you know?
And he was the worst of these lulz.
He's pretty unrepentant, yeah.
At least there's some consequence. I actually looked it up. He is now he's stuck in Korea. They kicked him out of jail because they didn't want to pay for him, but he's basically broke. He just wanders the streets. Yeah. He's like basically a homeless guy in Korea, so fuck him.
Will cause havoc for money, you know, that's probably what he says.
Right. Deepfakes times half of Sabrina Carpenter plus a pinch of Johnny Somali. But if you really want to do just a straight top to bottom, this is sub-zero level. This is down there with Ryan's World and the other detritus that we've looked at, the worst things we've looked at. This is really bad, Bill.
Yeah, it's dreadful. You know, it manages to be injurious to employment and art as a whole. It's a profane debasement to delectation and training and expertise and excellence, of honing one's skill via hours of repetition and refinement. I mean, it should disgust anyone listening to the sound of my voice that, you know, even that we're even having this conversation. So to actually, Noah, I mean, we kind of had a little overlap here. It's like, if you could distill in a vat, if you could distill Johnny Somali into Fireball whiskey, I believe that would probably be a good combination of two topics at the same time.
All right. That's a good one. I like
maybe there's a start, like a sourdough starter. Maybe there's like a Johnny Somali Fireball whiskey starter you use that you could just, begin the vatting process there.
All right. So look, a lot of topics we talk about it and we never think about it again. It's, last week we talked about 6-7, these flashes in the pan. I think there's every chance Tilly Norwood will be a flash in the pan, but specifically Tilly Norwood. The concept of the AI actress, the AI performer, I think we're going to have trouble escaping that. But look, hey, as I often say, anyone who predicts anything in this world these days is a fucking fool.
Hey, that's us. We're the fucking fools.
Maybe we'll get lucky. We shall see.
All right, well, the fucking fools are done, and that's the end of this episode. If you want to find past shows, look on Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, Soundcloud, and GooglePlay. SoundCloud and GooglePlay. Ski to us at noandbillshow.bsky.social. Write to us, noandbill, don't get it, @gmail.com. Reviews always help as well. Find us and give us reviews. Review us. Read us for filth. Do what you can. I am personally at Bill Scurry, @bsky.social, @William Scurry on Twitter, @William Scurry on Insta. Facebook, anywhere you might find a person, and youtube.com/AMCs is where my videos sit, and that is where the podcast lives in audio form. Also, I recently worked on a project for our friends over at Atomic Abe. I edited a video about it. Clarissa Explains It All. Looking back at, I guess now it's over almost 20 years. But so yeah, there's essay writer had a really lovely look at everything that made that show. I was not aware of it when it was on the air, but I got to chance to make a backdoor pilot essay about it with some very talented people, our friends Nick Nadell and Kevin Marr and Emily Menez, among others. So take a look at that as well. Noah will tell you what's going on in his life.
I'm all about the Big Quiz Thing, America's premier provider of corporate and private live trivia events, even better than Bill's little company he set up. We do the finest in, I just said that. A little lost today. Yeah, you know, we're starting to book for the holidays, Bill. Getting busy. Your holiday party made fun with trivia. Learn more at bigquizthing.com. And I personally occasionally am on Instagram at the Noah Tarnow.
Okay, everybody. So until the next episode, where you come to the dawning realization you've been listening to AI simulations, AI hallucinations of both me and Noah Tarnow, we don't get it.
A production of American Caesar Enterprises 2025.